Hi, good morning to everyone here online joining us for this panel. Sorry for being late due to some technical problem, but finally we're all here. A big welcome to all of you here. I'm Guoming. I'm the General Manager of IP Plus Global Partnership at Ant Group. First of all, on behalf of Ant, I would like to say it is really an absolute honor to participate in this Singapore FinTech Festival this year. I very much look forward to exchange views and also the insights with experts and the leads around the world on emerging trends in technology, innovation, and its deepening collaboration with financial services over the next few days. As you all know, the digital technology has been shaped nearly every aspect of our life, from the way we work and play to how we transact. As life becomes increasingly digital, consumer behaviors are evolvingly faster than ever, creating new challenges and also opportunities for business to meet their needs, which means rooted in the connectivity and accelerated by mobile technology, the rapid shift to digital since the turn of millennium since the millennium habits that were unimaginable just a generation ago. Today, nearly 40% of people streaming music daily, more than 2/3 stream video contents, and over a quarter shop online. There's an estimate says more than 80% people carry the mobile phone wherever they go. So while the shift to digital long in the making, actually the COVID-19 turbocharged the trend. By some estimate, this pandemic accelerated the shift from physical to digital shopping by over 5 years. So with much of about $48 trillion worth of transactions forecast to shift from cash to cards and digital payments by 2030, the cost of getting payments wrong is too great for any business to bear. That poses a huge challenge for many small and medium-sized enterprises that are struggling with digital transformation. While the need for digital transformation has never been more apparent than it is today, it does not have to be that hard. Innovations in digital payments and the mobile wallets offer a beacon of hope. IP Plus provides a testimony and such a solution to that possibility. So over the journey of continuous innovation and over the course of making and developing IP Plus, we have been very lucky to finding and collaborating with like-minded partners who have made open collaboration a reality, which is the key to effect and the real powerful change. On this note, again, it's my pleasure to present you our esteemed panel today. What do we have today is, let me introduce to you, Lawrence Chan, the CEO of Nest Group, Singapore's leading payment service group, and Ignatius On, the CEO of TNG Digital, the owner and operator of Touch and e-wallet, Malaysia's #1 wallet, and Ikram also, the president of Asia Pacific at Restaurant and Brands International, the operator of the fast food chain. Everybody know Burger King, for example. So thank you all of you for taking your time joining me today to share your insights and your views on innovate digital mobile payments to unlock global opportunities. So before we really started the panel, could I get our honor panelists to do a round self-introduction, please? Can Lawrence go first, followed by Ignatius Ikram, please?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Guoming, for a very good introduction. My name is Lawrence Chan. I'm the Group CEO of Nets. I've been enrolled just over a year and really have this privilege of trying to make a difference by connecting communities, empowering lives with payments here in Singapore. Prior to this, I've had the privilege of serving in other MNCs and trying to make an impact on payments in the region. Really looking forward to this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Ignatius, please.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Guoming. Great esteemed panelists. My name is Ignatius Ong. I've been with Touch 'n Go eWallet for the last 2 years, a little bit over 2 years. Prior to that, I've been with the airline industries for 15 years. Some of you may know, out of the 15 years, 7 years, I ran Firefly, which is a community regional airline within Malaysia, especially also with Singapore. Touch 'n Go eWallet, it's like Guoming said, we're the #1 eWallet. We are only about 3.5 years old today. We've got about 16 million user base. We've got more than 1 million merchant partners, touch points as we speak. Of course, also in collaboration with PayNet Malaysia, the unified standard QR code for national in Malaysia. So that's who we are. Thanks.
Thank you, Ignatius. Ikram, please.
Yes, hi, good morning, and thanks for inviting me again. My name is Ekrem Özer, and I'm the president of Restaurant Brands International in APAC. As you said, we have about 4,000 restaurants in the region. I'm responsible for all 3 of our brands. You mentioned Burger King, but we also have Popeyes and Tim Hortons in the region. Yeah, so for us as well, digitalization has been #1 agenda topic for RBI, like many other companies over the past 2 years. It's great to be here today to talk about how we're using digital to elevate the guest experience.
Thank you so much, Ikram. So, yeah, my dear guests and the panelists, let's start. So let's start to talk about the digitalization. Now, every company, every industry are going through digitalization, despite at a different pace. What are some of the most noteworthy digitalization trend in recent years have you seen in your respective sectors? So I give the question to the 3 of our honor panelists. So may Lawrence go first? Share your insights, please.
Sure, thanks, Guoming. I think the short answer to your question is tokenization and mobile. Right, tokenization and mobile these 2 capabilities has really made an impact in payments, and I would say specifically here in Singapore. Unfortunately, since the COVID started, we've seen a reduce in customers visiting physical merchants, and as a result of that, at a macro level, we have seen a decline in ATM withdrawals in Singapore by double-digit. We've also seen a decline in check clearance and potentially even in the amount of notes that have been issued nearly by a quarter here in Singapore. Does this mean that commerce at merchants have declined? We would like to think not. Companies like excuse me, companies like ourselves are seeing a growth in face-to-face payments in Singapore, and this is very much driven by, as mentioned, tokenization and more mobile usage, right? As more and more payments are being tokenized, payment credentials are being tokenized, the form factor that has really taken off, especially with the SME merchants that we are very keen on, the small, medium-sized enterprises, is the form factor of QR. And like any new form factor, it's like it takes like as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a whole community to make payments on QR work, right? Starting from the government's initiative of driving more digitalization, more digital payments, incentivizing merchants, incentivizing consumers to go more digital, especially during this COVID period. And of course, the merchants who want to also offer their customers the choice of different payment types so that they can close the sale. Right, and we've seen this especially in the F&B sector and many other sectors as well for the SME merchants. As you know, food is one of our favorite pastimes. Going to a hawker center in Singapore is very important to the life of a Singaporean, a Singapore resident. Being able to pay now with our mobile phone through a QR payment is very common now. More than 50% of all hawkers in Singapore take QR form of payment. Nets, of course, being one of the main providers to our merchants in Singapore for this. Today, we are seeing an increase in transactions by a few times, not just a few percentage, but a few times since COVID started, right? So the increase in digitalization, especially through mobile, and the fact that payments are now tokenized and the payment credential can be moved in a very safe manner has really enabled more and more SME merchants to go digital.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lawrence. Thank you for your insights. And Ignatius, please.
Thanks, Guaning. Yeah, I do echo what Lawrence have mentioned. Digitalization to us, I mean, e-wallet as a phenomenon in Malaysia, it started about 3-4 years back, but it took a bit of a time to get people to, realize the benefit. So to me, and as well to touch on e-wallet for us, digitalization is a journey. We feel that, consumers often need some road signs, some education, and that's the whole journey of doing things. We can be rolling out new products, high-tech digital products and services, but if the masses doesn't understand what it is and they don't see the benefits and how it actually embed into their daily lives, there's no stickiness to it. So especially for the last 2 years, and again, I've said it time and again, I do not want to really give credit to COVID-19 and, in Malaysia's MCO, I know in Singapore it's called circuit breaker, but it really did expedite the adoption rate of e-wallet or like what Lawrence said, tokenization, contactless payment. And we are talking about places where for the longest of time, there were no terminals, right? Of course, you walk into a supermarket, a shopping mall, it's all terminalized. You can whip up your credit card, your debit card, and you go along the way. But a lot of times, and in Malaysia especially, we did a survey, 80% to 85% of transactions we make is still in cash because of the fact that we go to the wet market, we go to the pasar malam, for that matter, you're buying your comfort food from the coffee shops. It's not terminalized. So it's always been cash. And the last 2 years, we see that kind of acceleration in terms of adoption, especially on a very, very high-tech but low-cost based QR code became a phenomenon, right? Everyone's got a QR code. Everyone is just, the hygiene factor comes into play. You whip out your handphone, you just do a scan of QR code, you go along your way, contactless and easy, right? And the last thing you want people to do is find an ATM machine. So no disrespect to the banks, find an ATM machine, start putting in your debit card and withdraw money. So that we have seen really, really drastic in the last 1.5 years. For us in Malaysia, the primary needs are essentials, right? Groceries, food. And Malaysians, like everyone else in the world, they want something that's fast, easy, and close to zero effort. So the user journey, the user experience, the user interface has got to be, well, I would say second to none, right? And the last thing you want is someone saying, hey, it's a huge hassle using an e-wallet to make a payment. So I think for us here in Touch 'n Go, we continuously innovate, enhance. We always do our trial testing. We hear feedback from our users. So even existing stable products and services like the simple point of making a payment, either be scanned or to scan, we continuously make sure that it is as seamless as possible. So we put in, technology behind it. For example, you have your debit card that is actually on a quick payment service to the e-wallet. So when you run out of e-wallet balance, it automatically tops up. So I think those are some of the key things we need to do. Back to COVID-19, it has changed many things in Malaysia, including daily habits, the routine, the payment options, and it raised a lot of concerns that is relevant to us, especially from a hygiene factor. I think this situation and condition has made Malaysians to opt for digitalization, of contact payment, and I do see that this is going to be something that's permanent, that's going to move forward. So the other thing that we did see really, really drastic, especially from our standpoint and working with our partners, for example, like e-commerce sites, like Goming say, Alipay Plus, Lazada for that matter, we have seen a huge, massive change of transaction being done online. And the demand has increased significantly. And I don't think it's going to dwindle, even though with the opening of economy, I do believe, I think that is a massive change in consumer habits over here, especially in Malaysia as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ignatius, for the sharing. May I have Ikram, please?
Yes, so certainly. Well, I mean, I think Lawrence and Ignatius touched on very similar topics. I won't repeat much of the things that were discussed, but if you look at it from our perspective, our mission is to provide a great guest experience to our customers. And we do that via providing a convenient and affordable access to great tasting food and beverages, right? So that's the main, main mission that we have. And digital has been a huge driver of convenience. Today, around 2/3 of our orders come from digital channels. So these include delivery as well as in-restaurant digital channels like kiosks and mobile apps and mini apps. So COVID, to Ignatius' point, accelerated this trend of digital ordering. We find that to be extremely helpful for customers to order via a variety of different channels and then get their favorite Whopper or Americano the way that they like, right? So we don't want to impose a certain channel or a certain form of ordering to the guests. So the more comfortable they feel about a certain channel, they should be able to do that. So that's a convenience builder, convenience enabler for us. And I think, I think other people have also mentioned that, this concept of online as opposed to offline is a big phenomenon, and people are starting their journeys mostly online nowadays. It used to be the offline draw things, and then people kind of like looked at the online on the side, but now everything is starting from the online, and then these apps that we all love to use, they're becoming kind of these gateways to the digital world. So having a presence in this digital world is also important for us, and therefore we also partnered with Ali to have our mini apps on these sort of super apps, as they call them, right? So we're starting with Singapore in the region, and we will hopefully quite quickly roll out to other markets next year. And on the digital payments front, it's again a great enabler to make the ordering and payment process easier and more convenient for people. I think minimizing the use of cash has always been helpful from an operational perspective. I think Ignatius touched on it. It minimizes leakage and end of day procedures and everything else. But then again, to the point made earlier with COVID, it also added additional safety benefits, right? So the additional adoption of digital payments, actually minimizes contact, and it's more helpful in this day and age. So in markets like China, we've actually reached 95% digital payments, and it's swiftly picking up in Southeast Asia and India. And also the one thing maybe to add on digital payments is that payment used to be the end of the journey. So you went around your shopping and then you paid, and that was the conclusion and the end of that journey. But now for brands like us, it also creates a point to restart the guest engagement or customer engagement. So it's not a linear process anymore. So where you start and then you end on a linear line, it's actually a circle. So you start another engagement, after payments. So we kind of look at it as another engagement point rather than end of engagement itself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ikram. May I summarize some key points from our dear panelists? I think Lawrence mentioned to help SME go to digitalization, especially for the food and beverage sector. Mentioned the hawker center, people's daily life for Singaporean. And Ignatius mentioned several keywords. It's a high-tech, low-cost, and fast, easy, close to zero effort. I think it's another key point for the purpose of our digitalization. And for Ikram mentioned the convenience, affordable, and I think that is also a good thing because your business is facing directly to the consumers. I think the keywords. So may I add one extra question to this session? See, if you want to name one key technology for you in recent years that truly help transformation of your industry or your company? Can you give me just one core technology, and what's the pain point that does it solve? Lawrence, please.
Thanks, Kwok-Ming. As I mentioned earlier on, I think tokenization as a technology enabler through mobile devices to move payment credentials for payment has really made an impact. And it's made an impact, I think, on the user experience, right? I think the user experience, as we have seen in so many models, can change behavior, can change consumers' behavior, can change merchants' behavior.
Yeah.
If we use QR payments as an example, and if I go back to my hawker example, right? It's not just beneficial for the consumer who wants to pay contactless, who wants to pay without touching coins and notes, but it's also a very good user experience, and as mentioned by my other esteemed panelists, also a very good, it's also a very cheap, safe, secure means of collections, right? So for QR payments, the merchant, with all, don't mean this in the wrong way, but sometimes the fingers are oily, are wet. They don't have to touch a terminal. They can accept payments, and they can hear and they can see on their own mobile. They can hear through a notification, notification alert sound. They can hear through a notification. We can make the font size bigger for the merchant to see that the transaction, the feedback of the transaction has taken place. It's been authorized, it's been approved, right? So the aspect of tokenizations for moving payment credentials has really made an impact to improve the user experience, both for the merchant and for even the buyer, the consumer, right? Who can now be able to use a better user experience and to do it in a safe, fast, secure way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lawrence. Ignatius, can you please share your secret weapon?
Yeah. Well, I think Lawrence took it out from me just now. So, well, to be very frank, I think the one that's most usable, and I agree with my panelists, it's always been a QR code. And to be very frank, I mean, this is a real story. I still recall when I joined the company 2.5 years ago, and I personally actually, buy my groceries. Once in a while, I would just follow my wife into the wet market. And this real story, right? I was, one of those weekends that I got nothing to do, well, as usual, when you offer yourself to go and help your wife to go to the wet market to get your chicken, your raw chicken, it comes along with, carrying the bags and all that thereafter. But nevertheless, I still recall this very clearly, that I went up to the store and I saw one of my competitors' QR code there. And I looked at him and I say, hey, you can't be just having that one person. You should have Touch 'n Go e-wallet as well. And his immediate response at that point in time, and this was 2.5 years ago, right? QR was just relatively new to a lot of people. And I felt that, hey, I don't really know what is happening with this QR code. Yeah, someone tells me that someone scans it and, the money is deposited into the bank the very next day. But I think there's a lot of skepticism. Again, like I say, it goes back to the point of education. So even though he displayed my competitor's QR code, I think the transaction volume was very low. And in fact, there were a lot of times he actually discourages people to do it. And I asked him a very simple question, right? Sir, what do you do? What's your day, a day in the life of your whole thing? And he said, yeah, I come into the store at about 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. And then the guy who's going to be in the truck is going to deliver all the raw chickens, and you start hanging it out. You start chopping up the chickens as we speak. And I say, great, so you start work at about 6, and what time do you normally end? It's about 12 noon. And I said, what do you do thereafter? And he said, yeah, I got to quickly, clean up the stall, and I got to rush, run into my car, rush to the bank before it closes so I can bring in all the cash. And I say, look, with the QR code, one great thing is about efficiency. I mean, forget about just telling you that the money is going to go into your bank, but you are working on the chicken because it's real, right? You're going to chop up the chicken. Someone's going to say, I just want a drumstick. So he's chopping, he's doing his whole routine. But what normally, traditionally, he does is he packs it up, then he passes it on to the consumer, and the consumer is just going to say, how much is it? Oh, it's 55 ringgit 60 cents. And what he does or she does, the consumer, is take out the cash with the coins, and this guy starts to wipe off his hands, and it starts to count. And, oh my God, I mean, talk about hygiene. Forget about COVID-19. That's real, right? And he just actually missed out about 2 to 3 minutes doing the change, making sure everything is fine, and then he starts going back to shop. And I say, look, do you know, with the QR code, with the e-wallet, all you need to do is just say the amount. This person just scans on the QR code that's there, and he or she will show you the amount that has been transferred, and you go along doing exactly what you're doing, and you're much more efficient. And the great thing is, at the end of the day, when you close shop at 12 noon, I always joke about it. We have a partner called Healthland in Malaysia, legit a massage parlor. And I say, sir, once you're done at 12 noon, you clear off your shop, don't rush to the bank, go back home, take a shower, get a nice massage, pamper yourself. And it's all so much real. And I think it's all about a story, right? It's a story like that we tell people. Just telling them the QR code is not going to make a difference, but embed it and making it a lot more realistic for them. They know exactly, hey, my day in the life is going to change for the better, it's more efficient. And that's the great part of it. So, again, like I say, go back to the first question. It's low cost, a QR, they can print themselves, or we can print it and we just stick it onto the store. And the whole slew of benefits that comes along with it is just fantastic. So I think it really did change the lives of user as well as our partner merchants as well.
Thank you, Ignatius. Thank you for sharing your wet market experience. You're a promoter of digitalization tokenization payment. Thank you. Yeah. Ikram.
Yeah, well, I mean, all of these technologies for us are great enablers, and I think this whole off-premise delivery operation together has been a great, obviously, enabler for us during the pandemic. And then we were able to kind of offset the loss on sales due to restrictions and lockdowns through delivery. So that has been a great enabler for us. But I think the challenge is at the same time is to make the whole experience seamless and the same across all these different channels, right? So we've got now a bunch of different channels that the customers can order from and interact with the brand, but they all have a little bit of a difference within themselves. I'm not just talking in terms of UI and UX, but also like how the packaging is done, how it arrives at your doorstep, and all these things. So we're not there yet. There's a lot of fragmentation in terms of Southeast Asia and some of the other countries. Unlike, for instance, a market like China, where the experience is a lot more uniform. So I think we need to work on in the next few years to make sure that this whole experience, whether you consume at the restaurant versus through online and at your own place, feels and acts the same, and you get the same service quality.
Yeah, thank you, Ikram. I think one thing you mentioned very importantly is not only payment, but the user experience from end to end, right? Placing the order, get the food delivery, make sure everything is satisfactory, and then they make payment. So it's from industry point of view, it's the end-to-end user experience. And I think the online platform and the digitalization helps a lot. As the seamless user experience is the core value. Yeah, so thank you very much, Ikram. So yes, I think thank you for all the sharing. And another question I'd like to give our panelists is what challenges do you think are there for more business to truly benefit from digitalization, and how could they unlock these global opportunities through digitalization? You from different industry, Lawrence, Ignatius, Ikram, can you give some insights about these challenges and how the other business operators can solve these questions and they can truly benefit from the big trend? May I have that from Lawrence, please?
Sure. Thanks, Guobing. I think in the small businesses in a country like Singapore, maybe even in Southeast Asia, the ability to pay is only, as we have discussed, only one aspect of the whole digitalization process, right? But even on the ability to pay by digital and to accept digital payments as a merchant requires much more education, much more convincing to the hawker, to the small business, that this digital payments is better than cash, it's cheaper than cash potentially, and more efficient and safer, right? So the education piece, I don't underestimate. It is still an ongoing process. It's not stopped, right? And I do believe it's improving at a rapid pace, but it's always the difficult part is the last mile, the long tail, the last mile. So I think the education piece, especially for the non-digital native, whether they are buyer or seller, they would need the education piece. And as part of the ecosystem, right, of from payment to delivery to receiving the correct goods the consumer ordered, that whole ecosystem, as mentioned by Ikram, I think it's across Singapore, Southeast Asia, is there are different user experiences, and there's an opportunity, I think, for the industry to come together to drive more efficiency, to drive more scale, right? And I think if we can find a way to bring the industry together to drive more consistency in the user experience, both for the buyer and the seller, we would be able to drive potentially more digital sales, especially for our small medium merchants.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. I noted that you mentioned several times small and medium business. I think that's the core value of our inclusive of fintech. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you. Ignatius, please.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is not so much of how many competitors we have in the market, but it's really about the mindset change, right? I think it's two prongs. One is the user, and of course the other one is our merchant partner. And try talking to a baby boomer about e-wallet. It's just going to take at least 2 hours of your time, and I'm not even sure whether I'm able to convince one of them thereafter to think about using of e-wallet, because to them, and even to myself, to us, right, we're going up against one competitor, which is cash, which has always been there since the dawn of time, right? And to a lot of people, if they don't see cash, they don't feel cash in their hands, they don't think it's real. And having it in the e-wallet, I still recall one of my users asked, how do you actually put money into the phone itself? And I say, no, it's just a platform, right? The money is actually held in trust by the company, but it takes a long while. I think that's one which is a big challenge. We are going up against something that is really, really gigantic. It's been traditional, which is cash, pure physical cash. I think the other portion, it's about also how things has always been done. So I'll take a lead from micro SMEs, the guys that runs the wonton noodle shop, the chicken rice stall, at the hawker center or at the coffee shops. They have always transacted like the way they have done, which is cash. And I hope there's no inland revenue people on this call, but you and I know, right? A lot of these merchants and some of those really, really popular ones, they actually gross revenue from a ringgit perspective, easily even up to 100,000 ringgit a month. And it's real, right? But when you start telling them, look, using the e-wallet, everything is tokenized, it's a lot more efficient, the hygiene factor is great, you don't need to rush to the bank, cash in transit, the risk of being, well, I wouldn't want to use the word robbed, but the risk of, dropping the cash along the way is minimized. But to them, the first question they did ask me is, hey, you know what, everything is transacted through the wallet, everything is recorded, there's a huge audit trail, inland revenue is going to come after me for tax, right? I think, and these are real problems. I think we need to solve the real problems in the world. We can shout about how efficient things are, especially usage of e-wallets, usage of tokenization for form of payment, but there are a certain kind of pain points that you need to hear them out. So we ourselves work very, very closely with the government, in particular Ministry of Finance, to see whether we can actually get them a tax holiday, at least for the next 2 years. The other things that we've talked about as well, especially in the last 1.5 years, where I think I believe Singapore did it as well as Malaysia, where the government put in incentive stimulus package where money is distributed through the e-wallet. It's a lot more efficient, a lot more faster, and I think that helps give user the assurance that how confident people can go about using an e-wallet. And I think with the government's backing behind it, things will change. Well, you know, for lack of a better word, it will come to head in the next 1 to 2 years, and I can assure you, it's just a matter of time before any central banks in the world is going to say, we're going to stop printing money. It is the only way to go. So that's how I see it. I think so back to your question, GM, QR code is definitely a great start to the whole ecosystem, the whole chain of events that's going to take place.
Yeah, thank you, Ignatius. As I said, you are the true promoter of
yeah, I'm a salesman.
And the challenges, I think you mentioned is mainly about the mindset
Yes.
of both users and the merchants. And the behavior model, which I think has already been changed during the pandemic. It really speeded up, but still it takes time for people to really put their trust on the e-wallet and receive the money from the on e-channel to their bank account or wallet. But I think that will happen. It will be there. Thank you so much. Ikram, yep. Can I have you, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, from our perspective, obviously, we are present in a lot of different channels. And I made the point earlier that the experience is also very important and it needs to be seamless. Then the other thing is, the guests or customers interact with different channels at different times of the day or the week or for different occasions. But at the end of the day, they still want to have a personalized experience and they don't want to be in a very unpersonalized, anonymous place. So for us to be able to give personalized experience, we need to know them. We need to know that this is Lawrence, this is Ignatius, or this is Gomi, who is actually buying this product. And we need to have access to their transaction history so that we can make the right offer to them when they come onto whichever channel, whichever site that they're on. And having this knowledge is really important for us to give a personalized and customized service. So from that perspective, I think tokenization is really helpful. That with, at least with a payments sort of unique identifier, if you're able to recognize the customer, then we are able to kind of, say, okay, this is this customer who's buying all these things. And then next time they come, I either give them the right coupons, or either give them the right communication. I don't try to sort of sell them something that they don't want. So this personalization is the next step in our journey, which we want to do. And that is going to either happen through tokenization or some loyalty program integrations, but multi-channel, omni-channel way. So that is the next step.
Yeah, thank you, Ikram. I think you mentioned the one thing. I think you always emphasize the user experience. I think that is crucial. Yeah, because if I put myself into your position, it's the retail, the food and beverage, and take a Burger King as example. It's people's a part of the daily life, right? Correct. And another thing you mentioned, that the personalized experience. I think that is a very good point, because when people go offline to a shop, you can meet a customer face to face, but when they go online, I think we still need to know who our customers are and yes, what do they want, and as you said, we can offer the best thing they want. I think we still need to know our customer, but it's through a different way, in a digital way. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, very correct. To elaborate that, I think in order to make that things happen, I think we need to work together with other industry players, because that's to guarantee the end-to-end user experience. We cannot make these things happen alone, because we are just a part of the whole chain. So the further question to all our panelists is, what do you think the industry could work together to address those challenges and the pain points, and make things happen, speed it up and in a better way? May I have Lawrence first, please?
Thanks, Koming. I think, as Ignatius rightly pointed out, the beauty of being in payments is we are competing against cash, right? And cash is very dominant in this part of in Southeast Asia, in this part of the world. So I think there's a lot we can do to really work together to improve education and to improve the complete user experience. I think as we have seen in the drive to have less cash, I don't think there will be completely zero zero cash, maybe zero checks, but zero cash probably not so soon, right? But there's so much opportunity we can work together, and we have seen, just as a data point within our business in Nets, right? When the merchant takes more payment options, the Nets volume also grows. And it's not the Nets volume declines when the merchant takes other forms of payment. And we understand this to be the case because as the merchant is more open to digital payments, we are actually benefiting from reducing cash at the merchant. So we are very supportive of helping the industry move forward. We're very supportive in working with the industry to make it easier for the merchant. And I think one of the key needs of the merchant, in addition to user experience, is payment reconciliation, right? And making sure there is almost zero fraud. I wouldn't say zero fraud all the time, but we need to manage down fraud. So I think we can manage down fraud. We can help with value-added services like reconciliation of payments. We can drive more and more digital payments, especially as we said, for the very important sector for inclusion, the small and medium businesses.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. Ignatius, please.
Yeah. Well, again, we can't be superheroes. We can't be Superman alone. I think that's just going to be ridiculous. We definitely need collaborations, and hence that's why we don't call our merchants vendors. We call them partners. I'll give you a very good, simple example. When we started 2 years ago, we really fought hard, tooth and nail to even get noticed by some of the big boys, multinational brands. And it comes to a point where, there will be, it becomes a chicken egg story. Hey, but how many users does Touch 'n Go e-wallet has? And I say, yeah, but we need to have merchants so that there is use cases, people can transact. I'm not going to name names, but some of those big burger chains, yeah. So those are some of them. But I'll give you a very, very good example. We work very closely with this homegrown brand called Tea Life in Malaysia. It's really a huge chain of bubble tea, homegrown in Malaysia, and they're one of the first few partners that actually has so much trust with us, and we partnered together. And we got ourselves out there, they've got close to I think more than 500, 600 outlets of bubble tea. So having it enabled, and then, it became a cross-fertilization kind of relationship where we grew our user base, that grew their top line revenue, and we did see a symbiotic relationship. And one thing after that, it became so successful, especially for our partners, in this case, Tea Life, that I myself don't drink bubble tea, but my two daughters does, and they always ask me, hey, you know what, Daddy, we're in this shopping mall, can you just quickly go by and get us 2 cups? And I do. But again, like I say, they became so successful that the queue, just to stand in line, the queue, payment with Touch 'n Go e-wallet is fantastic, but the queue itself is just too long. And Malaysians are a little bit fickle, right? They stand in front of the line. They've seen the menu, three customers before, but they love to make the decision only when they are in front before they make the payment. So you wait, right? You wait. And sometimes you will see some of the guys who's in line, in queue, drop off. And I felt that, this is some of the things, pain points I shared with the CEO of Tea Life. And I said, look, you know what? I realized we are leaving money on the table. So what we did was then we worked a very, very strong proposition between them and us. And we started this program called Mini Program on our e-wallet, where Tea Life actually put their tile onto our e-wallet itself. What it does is, I say, let's curate a bespoke offering to our users, which is basically you pay, you choose your bubble tea, you pay for it on on all in the app itself. And then you just select which stall that you're going to be walking by at 3 p.m. this evening, and you just walk by and pick up that bubble tea, freshly made bubble tea. So you captured the impulse buying, you captured the customer that wanted to have that bubble tea there and then, and that person does not need to go through the hassle of waiting in queue. And we did see a huge uptake with regards to top line revenue, about 20-30%. So I think those are some of the things, forget about the commercial part. I'm sure T-Live is happy to see their P&L goes up fantastically, but I think it's all about delighting the user, our users, and making sure that, hey, you know what, it's really, really sticky using the e-wallet. And this is also part of the education process to get our users to continue to see themselves using the e-wallet or the tokenization to transact, on their daily lives. So to me, challenges, these are some of the really good key pain points that we have addressed. And I think working with partners, we will never be able to do it alone. We need to have great partners. And I believe in Touch 'n Go e-wallet, I always use this word, smart partnerships, right? Don't do everything that you think you can do, but leverage on the expertise of other people who are great at doing what they're doing. You're good at doing e-wallet, so be it, but let's make it a lot more richer and get all the various partners to be with us together.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the insights. May I have Akram, please?
Yeah, look, I think it was kind of like said before me. So, I mean, overarching point is to help the customers have a great experience. And we all have, as different players in the value chain, different roles that we need to kind of play. So, if you put customer at the center of this whole experience, then everything becomes much more smooth, and there is more value generated for the customer. For this end, I think online to offline partnerships, is really important. We are very happy to partner with other providers, other service providers in this field, whether they're aggregators, whether they're technology providers, they're payment enablers. So we're very happy to work so long as the customer gets the right the right service. And I think what we've done with Ali recently with the mini program is a testament to that. So the idea is to kind of like make sure the customer is able to order quickly, pay quickly, and have access to communication, personalized for that person. And for that goal, the WeChat, the Alipay mini app actually works really well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akram. May I summarize several key things? I think that the panelists has given a lot of insights, but I think the key focus is always focused on the user experience. All the three panelists emphasize again and again. And the second one is the payment is just a part of the whole chain, right? So we need to work together with partners to make sure the end-to-end seamless connection among the user experience and continues to improve that. The third point is to adopt the right technology to address the pain point, not only for the merchant, but also for the user. The tech, I think mentioned by Lawrence and Ignatius, is the QR code tokenization, and Ikram several times mentioned the mini app, mini program. I think that's always the one of the good choice available in the market. Thank you so much. Thank you to our honored panelists. And indeed, digitalization will continue to bring boundless opportunities for business. And the challenge is to catch up with them fast enough and innovate in the ways that are most cost efficiently and sustainable with consumer needs in the heart of all. The good news is the business today have access to and are able to leverage a booming ecosystem of digital tech and the platform provider, especially in the Southeast Asia area. I believe in the coming few years, it's the booming of internet and online payment will be there. And I think I can speak for Nets and TNG Digit as well. The technology providers, we are constantly working together to support the digital transformation of the service and also including the food and beverage throughout the innovative technology, and which I think Ikram already gave a very good example from his perspective. So with that, we are close to the end of today's panel. Thanks for watching, and thanks again to all our panelists. Can all our audience please stay online for our product announcement shortly, coming in probably 10 minutes, where I will share about the Alipay Plus, the secret sauce to reach more consumers globally. And thank you everyone again. Thank you for your time today. Pleasure.
Thanks so much.
I look forward to
Thank
see
you.
you again soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.